Support for this program is made possible by Art Center Arcata, artist run for the artist and everyone. Paint, paper, and cool fun stuff. Independent and locally owned. Located on the Arcata Plaza. Support for Headline Humboldt is made possible in part by viewers like you. Thank you.
Coming up next on Headline Humboldt, after 3 days of vainglorious adventures across the water, mud, sand, and asphalt of Humboldt County, this year's Kinetic Grand Championship was one for the ages. We'll have Kati Texas in to talk about the race, the tradition, and the human-powered prowess and plucky perseverance of this year's ingenious engineering. Coming up now on Headline Humboldt. Well, that was a mouthful. Who wrote that? The music, that's not the right music. You've got to get the right music. I don't know if we're... Is that a chicken?
That was James Falk, and I'm Kati Texas. Now, the news. Since 1969, kinetic sculpture racing has been a Humboldt County tradition. Hundreds of racers and thousands of fans converge for 3 days of fierce competition, pitting bodies of art and artists' bodies against obstacles both natural and man-made. Humboldt's oldest and largest community art event is actually 10 events in 3 days across 5 municipalities. Many teams are multi-generational affairs, and every local family boasts an ace pilot, race official, or rutabaga queen in their ranks. This year's Kinetic Grand Championship was one for the record books. And now we go to our Kinetic correspondent, Kati Texas, on the Arcata Plaza for the start of the race.
Thank you, Kati. Every Memorial Day weekend, hundreds of artists, athletes, and engineers race their own human-powered artwork across 50-plus miles of Humboldt County's land, sand, water, and mud. It's the Kinetic Grand Championship!
50 teams registered for this year's Kinetic Grand Championship, with 24 of those teams attempting to win an ACE award. ACE teams must human power their all-terrain vehicles all the way from Arcata to Ferndale in good time while following all the race rules. All the teams are subject to the scrutiny of the judges, though. They compete for awards in engineering, art, speed, and pageantry, with the highest scoring team winning the title of Kinetic Grand Champion. Engineering judges are looking for required equipment like toothbrushes and a teddy bear, clever propulsion ideas, and what they call fit and finish. Art judges give scores for artistic theme, color, and kinetic thrills. In the brake test, teams have to prove that they can actually stop their machine, as well as exit the craft safely in case of an emergency. Pageantry judging is a team's chance to show off their kinetic spirit for the crowd, singing and dancing for glory. As Kinetic Noon approaches, race volunteers clear spectators out of the street. Then, when the siren blows, it's time to go. There's a Le Mans-style rolling start around and around the plaza. Then the Rampmeister opens the gates and unleashes kinetic madness into the countryside.
And that's just the start of it. Back to you, Kati.
Thanks, Kati. After the tribulations of day one, just 46 teams remained in the race, with just 12 ace teams still in the running for the coveted Grand Champion title. Day two of the Kinetic Grand Championship starts with a splash. Teams roll into the first water hazard portion of the race, navigating the Humboldt Bay along the Eureka waterfront. Once they prepared their amphibious machines for flotation, there's another official safety check and more opportunity to wow the spectators with their playful pageantry. Entering the bay, pilots have to decide if they're going to go for the biggest splash award or if they'll treat their contraption with more care to avoid mechanical mishap. At the other end of the water crossing, pit crews work quickly to get their sculptures roadworthy. Next is the long cross-country leg of the race, which will take teams most of the way to Ferndale before sunset, if they're lucky. After many miles of road, there's an exhausting climb up Table Bluff, known in kinetics as Melvin's Mile, then a white-knuckle ride down the other side of the hill. Day two ends at the racers' private beach campout called Crab Park. Here's our biggest splash moment. The final day of the Kinetic Grand Championship has arguably the most picturesque hazard of the race when teams cross the Eel River under historic Fern Bridge. Teams must enter, cross, and exit the river under their own power, a task which can be deceptively difficult. The mid-river sandbars, strong currents, and the loose rocky riverbank to climb make the Eel River crossing a serious kinetic challenge. Once they're out of the water, it's a quick trip through some cow pastures and on to Ferndale. Main Street in Ferndale was the site of the very first kinetic sculpture race in 1969, thanks to glorious founder of kinetics, Hobart Brown. Today, the Kinetic Grand Championship ends in front of Hobart's old gallery at the corner of Main Street and Brown Street. Embattled and exhausted, teams get in a good glory lap in front of the festive crowd before finally crossing the finish line. There are 43 different awards a kinetic team can win. You can find a full list of race results at kineticgrandchampionship.com, but here's a few highlights. 10 teams earned an ACE award, including first-time ace Malia Matsumoto, go Malia. Ace pilots earned the title of Professor, as well as a shiny medal. First place in engineering went to Team 102, Reno Calcino, who also won first place in speed, with a total course time of 10 hours and 17 minutes. First place in art went to Ghoul Scouts Pine Derby, with co-captain artists Lush Newton and Professor Malia. And the 2025 Kinetic Grand Championship team is flightless in their crashed plane, with their bloody pilots and entitled bride, a muscle-bound manfluencer peddling supplements, and one angry polar bear. Also known as Team Pineapple, this is their fourth Grand Champion title. Team Pineapple presents a darkly hilarious critique of consumer culture and humanity's impact on our home planet through climate change. Speaking of the future of humanity, up next we will talk with the winners of the Spectator's Choice Award, Team Pedal Snappers, and their sculpture, Cluster Duck, after this.
Caregiving is something most of us will experience whether we're giving care, receiving it, or both. Join us for Shared Stories of Caregiving, a free KEAT PBS community event featuring a special preview of the powerful new PBS documentary, Caregiving, with executive producer Bradley Cooper. Join us for the film, panel discussion, and caregiver resource fair on Tuesday, June 24th from 10 to 1 at the Sequoia Conference Center in Eureka. Register now at keat.org.
Hello, I'm Paula Kerger, President and CEO of PBS. Public media is one of America's greatest public services, free, local, and available to everyone. Every day, local PBS stations help children learn, deliver life-saving emergency information, and strengthen the communities they serve. Today, that service is at serious risk, but together, we can ensure it continues for generations to come. You can learn more at protectmypublicmedia.org.
We are here with Ava and Alina from Team Pedal Snappers, who just came out of the Kinetic Grand Championship, and their team Cluster Duck. Hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much.
Okay, tell me your roles on the team.
Okay, so I am the team captain this year, so I manage the whole deal from just little tasks that have to happen and the big scheduling and fundraising of it all.
Okay. And Alina, what's your job?
I'm the mechanics crew lead, so I help to actually design the machine and then facilitate us actually building it over the course of the year.
And this is both of your second race, is that right?
Yes.
The Team Pedal Snappers ran last year, where I remember you won the Golden Dinosaur Award.
We did indeed.
But you did not win the Golden Dinosaur Award this year. So you made it past the plaza, and how far did you make it before your first mechanical failure?
2 or 3 miles?
Yeah, it was about like 2 miles, I think.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
No, not bad. I mean, up from the feet last year, we're happy. We're very happy.
And for folks who don't know, the Golden Dinosaur is, of course, the team that breaks down first after leaving the plaza. So you didn't do that. But you won a good handful of awards this year, actually, including Champions of Tomorrow. So can you explain why you won that one in particular?
That one in particular, we won 3rd place for Champions of Tomorrow. So out of 3 teams that won the award.
I believe there's only one Champion of Tomorrow award.
I think you won.
I'm talking about the different award. I'm not talking about the award that you just said. I'm
you won That's okay, we'll start. So you won Champions of Tomorrow. And what is the Champions of Tomorrow award for?
The Champions of Tomorrow award is an award for a youth kinetics team. So that's a team where all of the participants are younger. It's to honor the tradition and keep it alive in the younger generations.
Yeah, you got to get young pilots in there for sure. Well, tell me more about your team.
Yeah, we are all high schoolers from around the area. We have 4 different high schools with students currently participating. We're not like affiliated with one particular school. We meet very often because we have quite an accelerated schedule with building the machine all ourselves all this year. All the art and the whole machine was built ground up this year by our group. We're about 14 strong this year, yeah.
And Alina, you're in charge of engineering?
Yes.
So tell me about your machine. Where did you learn to build a kinetic craft?
So I've actually kind of been doing kinetics for a while. That the Rutabaga Rally, like Kinetics Classic they have for kids. I won that 3 times in a row as a child, and that's was my start. And then just through participating last year and talking to the great folks at the Kinetics Lab, is where we got most of our guidance this year.
Okay, copy a little bit of this, copy a little bit of
Exactly.
that, try and make it work yourself. That's cool. What do you think was the biggest mechanical challenge?
Probably our axles. We had a couple problems with them snapping, and we had some creative fixes for that. The other big mechanical challenge, I think, was the water. It's just such a large change from being on land, and like what you have to change on the machine to do that, especially a bigger machine like a 6-seater.
So what's going through your head when you're going down the road and your axle snaps?
Oh no, I think was my first one. But I was also kind of excited because I like the fixing it and sort of winging it part of kinetics, and the emphasis on just trying your best and making it work. And so getting to weld an axle back together in the middle of the street in Arcata was a pretty fun experience, I have to say.
So tell me a little bit more about your art. Cluster duck. It's an interesting theme. I saw your big duck patches and the flotilla of smaller ducks behind. Where did that come from?
So the original idea actually spawned from a moment we had on the race last year where we were all in kayaks and on the water watching people in the water just all together when somebody commented that we looked like a group of ducks following a big mother duckling. And from there, the pun was born, and we just really liked it. We wanted to keep going. We had a couple of ideas at the beginning of the year, and cluster duck was thrown into the mix. And we voted on it and immediately threw ourselves into the theme. We've been quite committed to the ducks this year. I have to admit, I've acquired quite a lot of duck paraphernalia.
Okay, duck gear, duck puns.
Oh yes,
I'm
the
sure.
duck puns have come out strong.
Okay. You won one of the most coveted awards in kinetics, and that is the spectator's favorite. So that's all 50 teams are competing for this. There's the Kinetic Ferry Collective is out collecting votes all 3 days, talking to every spectator they can manage to get a sticker on. And they picked you. What an incredible honor.
It really was. We did not go into the race expecting to shoot for that award or get it. I think we were getting excited, getting people on the plaza to vote for us. We had a team member who went out in their stilts and the big gold cape and handing out bribes and making little balloon animal ducks. And just, we are all very enthusiastic. It's a group of kids with a lot of energy, and I think we were all super excited to talk to people about all this work we'd done. So I think that really just, we helped us connect with the spectators and form that kind of connection that helped us, that helped them want to vote for us. We're very honored, yeah.
Nice, yeah. Another big honor, and just like go through this list of awards that you've won. Another big honor is the Spirit of the Glorious Founder. So the glorious founder of Kinetics, Hobart Brown, and his son, who we lost in 2008. But his son, Justin Hobart Brown, does go out and give an award to the team that he feels best embodies the spirit of what his dad intended for the race. So what do you think it was about your team that really struck a chord with the glorious reason, son of the glorious founder?
So he wandered into our camp. He was perusing the machines, I can assume, and he found my brother, who gave him a baked potato. And he was hungry. He was looking for food. And my brother gave him a baked potato and then was showing him the machine. And I think they just really got along. And I think he liked seeing just kind of the spirit we all had and how much fun we were having. And I think the baked potato also helped. He really liked the baked potato,
okay.
yeah.
Fair enough. Do you have a favorite moment from this year's race?
On the way towards Crab Park, there is a bridge, which is, I believe, 7.5 feet wide. And
7 foot 6 inches.
7 foot 6 inches, thank you. And I believe our machine is also 7.5 feet wide.
No, 7 foot 6 inches.
Yes.
exactly.
And it was a lot of fun getting it through that bridge. We still had our paddle wheels on, and removing them without our toolbox was fun. A lovely spectator gave us the use of their impact driver and a socket, and that made it go faster. But it took us about half an hour, and we, with zero clearance on both sides, rolled it over the bridge.
Were there teams piled up behind you waiting to get to Crab Park?
We were in the back of the line.
Okay.
I believe it's on the Hickshari Trail too, yeah.
Oh, that, okay.
Yeah, that little
yes,
bridge.
that is a very narrow bridge.
Yes.
Because it's a trail bridge. It's meant,
yes.
Gotcha. It's not meant for
We saw the
vehicles.
second bridge up in the distance, and it's much wider, but it was hard to tell, and we were all took a collective sigh of relief when we realized it was as wide as the trail.
Do you have a favorite moment?
Oh gosh, I do. Going into the bay, seeing that big old splash as we just crashed down into it was so crazy to experience right up front. I think we were all super stressed out right beforehand too, and scrambling to get everything done and chatting with the other teams, and just seeing that huge splash and making it through the water was just very exciting and gratifying. That's got to be up there. And then also on the way up to Crab Park, it was getting late and the sun was setting, and it was just like a beautiful sight to see with all of our teammates, and we were all chanting and singing and just having a great time. I think saying the impact having so much fun has had on them has been really, really nice to see.
Kinetics has such an amazing community around
really
it.
does.
Do you feel like they've been very supportive and inviting?
It's been so incredible. All of the teams are just so incredibly kind. We've had like the Dolly Spartan team this year. Without fail, every time we broke down, one of them was right there with ideas, with wrenches, with all the stuff, like getting it out, ready to help, and everyone's just so nice. We had some connections on our wonderful grand champions flight list. We all loved them, cheered for them as hard as we could. They had some absolutely glorious moments this year. But one of them was on Team Melvin, who donated the huge pontoons to us. We've been so supported by the whole community, and it's been really lovely to be a part of.
Great to hear. And I love that you, Alina, that you came up through the Kinetic, the Kinetic Classic,
Yes.
the kids' Kinetic race, because that is exactly why that was started in the first place, is to get people hooked in young. And I believe it's the only Kinetic race where you can actually participate in utero. So it goes from -9 months to plus 12 years. But it sounds like you've gotten so much support, not just emotionally and mechanically, but materially as well. Like who brought out some great support for your team?
BT Metals is where we source a lot of our metals, and they very kindly gave us a discount on some of that. And Johnson Industries have provided some machining capabilities when we needed more precise parts than we were capable of making just by ourselves. And other than that, I think most of the actual materials and resources we just bought through fundraising.
We definitely had that huge material support from Team Melvin as well, who gave us a ton of tires and the massive blue pontoons that we used in the water.
Team Melvin, more Grand Champs and more Grand Champion titles and more aces than any other team in Kinetic history. There's a reason they called Table Bluff Melvin's Mile. Speaking of which, how did you do on Melvin's Mile going up the hill?
I don't believe we ended up being able to go up the hill for Melvin's Mile.
There were some pieces of the course you couldn't do, right?
There
Yes.
were, mostly for time reasons.
Yes.
Because we were very slow.
Human powering or getting your artwork from Arcata to Ferndale in whatever condition you make it is pretty glorious. We were just talking about how there's 48 teams that entered the race, and maybe 2/3 of them actually make it to the finish line. So simply making it to the finish line is an absolutely huge accomplishment. Actually, getting to the start line is a really huge accomplishment. So congratulations to you on that. Do you have plans to continue in Kinetics?
We do. The team that we are currently a part of, Team Pedal Snappers, it is an all-youth team, and we'd like it to stay that way with the high schoolers. But all of our seniors on our team have already started planning the start of a graduate team that people can join after they graduate. Lots of our teammates have said, "Oh, we want you to come back as chaperones and come bike with us next year." But we are excited to keep being a part of all the Kinetic madness in whatever way it happens.
You could do like a team Dolly Spartan and split off, spin off a team, because they were one team, and then they were Dolly Spartan and the Dolly Parthenon.
Yes.
Which is a similar, related. They're related teams, but not exactly the same team. You could make that work. Well, is there anything in Kinetics in particular that you are looking forward to, say next year or in the years to come?
I'm looking forward to watching where Team Pedal Snappers goes, just because we've all put so much time into it, and then seeing something like that out of your hands is scary but really cool also in a way.
Oh, I see. The team itself is going to stay the Pedal Snappers, and you're going to hand it over to the next generation of youth.
Yes,
Oh,
we set up our leadership in a way that we will always have one person kind of apprenticing the larger leader. So that was me this year. We had a junior learning and gathering information, and they're going to take that on next year and keep it alive and going. So we tried to set it up so it could keep going and just be in the high school age range and get new members and have members graduate and move on. Stay alive. But it's scary to let it go for sure.
Oh, but then you can go off and start your own team.
Exactly, yeah.
I love the team name Pedal Snappers. Very smart to choose a team name, because if you don't choose one, someone will choose one for you.
Oh yes.
Well, watching your run has been inspiring for these last 2 years, and I can't wait to see where the Pedal Snappers go and where you two both go as individuals. We need more young artists, athletes, and engineers to keep Kinetics going. Did you both just graduate high school?
Nearly. We got a couple weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay, you're almost done. Next year, you both can't be on the Pedal Snappers?
No.
Yes, it's an all youth high school team.
Okay. But next year, are you going to be on your own team?
Hopefully, yes. We're going to try to pull something together for next year, but it may be a couple years until you see us in another machine. But we'll be back.
You hoping to get an ace?
Open.
At some point.
So what do you think is the hardest part about getting an ace?
I think the extra weight.
I agree. Yeah, it's
It's-
packing all of that stuff adds a layer that you don't expect.
Yeah.
The flotation and all the mechanical stuff to make it work.
Yeah.
And did you switch out any pilots this year?
We ended up switching after we lost our ace. We had someone who got a nasty headache and he just needed a break. And also just to give people a chance now that there's no point in not to. But yeah, we did end up switching pilots.
Real quick, before we finish, tell me about your experience tell me about the finish line in Ferndale. When you come around that corner and the crowd is there, what was that like?
Oh, it was incredible. We had come up with a chant as we went along after fixing our axle many times. Cluster duck, we never give up. So we were cheering that as we came in, and Scout was behind us on the stilts, and everyone was just so excited. You could hear all the loud noises and everyone just cheering along as we rolled in finally. And all of our teammates just so excited. The HSU marching band was, Cal Poly Humboldt marching band was.
No, I think
the
they're
Kinetics
the
marching band.
No,
The
is
what?
that not the? Someone we know. Okay.
The marching band.
was playing Rubber Ducky for us, and they did that for us in the water too, and we love them. But it was very glorious. We were all grinning ear to ear, just so excited that we had made it. Yeah.
Absolutely epic finish to an epic run. Good job.
Thank
Definitely.
you.
Thank you so much for being here. This is for you.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you again to Team Pedal Snappers and their cluster duck, and thanks to James Falk and Headline Humboldt for being such good sports.
Support for this program is made possible by Art Center Arcata, artist run for the artist and everyone. Paint, paper, and cool fun stuff. Independent and locally owned. Located on the Arcata Plaza.